day. I think it's the last day of January. Please take a look at this disclosure. I'm going to do a public um, morning call because I'm in the city. I'm really never in the city on Fridays. I'm always in Short Hills, so I figured why not? I'm here. So let's get to it. So first, after you just read the disclosure, I have to show you the disclosure here. This is the VTF. I've shown you guys this before, where you have the Trader Hub where people are talking about what's going on in the morning. I just actually came from the stair machine, 8:22. I got in a little late today. I have my options account here, so I had to do it. So everyone's talking all morning long. It's good to have some friends that you could, rely on for good information, upgrades, downgrades, what's out there, etc. And then you also get to see my position. So, I did go from 25 positions or so on Friday down to like 6 or 7, with the action. Some things are concept plays, some things are trades. I have an active account, I have a swing account, I have a options account, I have a technology account, I have then my long-term 401k, and then I have Chase's 529. I have a little bit of everything. It all depends on your time frame. But so right here, this is the VTF, and just I guess everyone's really focusing on Amazon. So Amazon was pretty much my focus going into earnings after Tesla was done, and I did a bunch of different types of strategies, which were calculated. You could see down here. I have 2 option strategies that expire today. These are these 2, where I bought the 1910s, which were straight, which is up 200 points. And then I also have the 2000s, but I have a call spread where I sold the 2070s. That's the one that I put out there, I think 2 weeks ago in the public Twitter sphere, where I said you could buy the 2000s, sell the 2070s. If it's not as bad as feared and actually stronger, a 2-year base in Amazon, and you can risk $10 and make 60. And right now, I think Amazon's above 2075. So that's nice. And actually if you look here, I just hedged a little bit. I just shorted some, actually twice. So that means, I shorted a little bit because I do have some straight calls. And this morning when I woke up, Amazon was at 2030. So I'm like, oh, Amazon's at 2030. That's what it's got to hold because that's the prior breakout, which we'll get to. So when I came in the office finally, I'm like, oh, okay. Amazon's at 2070, it caps everything out besides my straight calls. So now I could short some stock and deliver the 910s, on the close. So so I'm not short Amazon. I'm just, trying to, it's 8:45, you can't trade out options till 9:30. But anyway, that's that. So then a bunch of these things are leftovers. These are my 2 concept plays that I've had for over a month. I love the science and it's longer term. I think we'll get some positive news flow I'm sticking with. And then this is my only wellness name left. Yesterday was, a hard day for a bunch of us with Sandile. If you remember SNDL, we did buy it at 240 to 2, and it did go to 388, which was up huge. I sold 75%, but then I made the mistake, which I'll get to, buying some back at 310, 275, 240. And even though it didn't look great, I was like, we did so well with it. It doesn't really matter, and then boom, the CEO and COO leaves, and I wound up hitting it out, which I tweeted at $1.90 to $2 yesterday, and said, okay, I'll take my loss, and it hurt, but it was my fault a little bit for buying it back and not obeying the charts because it was a small cap, which I don't usually trade anyway. So if you were in that, I apologize. That wasn't fun. Hopefully you sold 75% and never bought it back and just lost on your trailer. Then I have a little Netflix overnight, which I like the way the chart's looking, and Lyft I've had for a few days, and Roku I just put onto track yesterday. Neo, got it at 350, sold 520. I'm sitting, and this is that. So that's that. So let's just get to, the S&P and the charts here. So this is the S&P cash. Overall, definitely. Very busy week. It was funny. I was just like, ooh, I'm like, it's a Super Bowl this weekend. I haven't, it's been so crazy that I was like, I didn't even think about once about the Super Bowl. Who's playing? No, I'm kidding. I know it's KC versus the Niners. Tell me who you want to win. Actually, my son, when he was 5, we were in South Carolina when I think it was the 49ers were doing well with Colin Kaepernick before he decided to kneel. And I don't even want to get into that. But anyway, so he became a 49ers fan then, and then he learned the history of it with Jerry Rice and Montana. So he's kind of rooting for the Niners, even though he loves Patrick Mahomes. And anyway, so we'll see how that game goes. So let's go back to here. This is the S&P cash. This was the Monday low. If you remember here, that was your red dog reversal sell at 33.26. This candle is what got me out of most of my longs because I was like, I don't know what's next. Same way here after the move all the way from there. So if you guys remember, this is when the last active sequence started. I talk about active sequences, and this is right here. Got above the 8-21 day, and then it was above it this entire time. And then on this day, I did the same thing. I reduced most of my positions because you never know what an engulfing bearish candle is going to do and what it's going to lead to, and it led to a bottom tail, and then we came up, went sideways, and went again. So here we are, not knowing what this candle would lead to. So that got me very flexible, got me overly hedged. I have VIX calls, I had spider hedged, and then this day didn't matter too much. I actually think I made money on Monday, because I was rightly sized. So anyway, yeah, to bounce back to fill this gap, made a high here. What's this? This is 32.93, not 33.01. So 32.93. And then yesterday we had a higher low, closed well. Obviously there's a lot of news still about the coronavirus. There's 2 more cases in the UK. Something's person to person. Just so you know, in Asia, the Hang Seng or the Hong Kong Exchange is down 6% for the week. The Shanghai isn't open yet, so people are a little anxious on how that's going to open. Anyway, I would think we're to do something in here. Like an inside day would be nice, where we're up down 10-12 handles. We just kind of go green, let stocks do what they want to do and continue to build, and then at least now we have these 2 points of reference. So maybe today we make a little bit of a higher low. I am short the SPYs, I already covered some. This is your ascending channel that it broke, and it was a good time to get out of some longs here and overlay your short, and then now we're come in here a little bit. This is a little bit more relevant now. This was your resistance area. So get rid of this little shaded spot. At this point, what do I think is happening? I think the market's trying to prove that it could hold and maybe rebuild. So this would be your new support area. Maybe, okay, this turns into another wedge, where you can go like this, and as the market consolidates. Okay, so this could turn into a wedge where sometimes wedges break to the downside also, for all you bears out there that are open for negative prices. But sometimes all it does is consolidate what has been a big move. Like remember this, it broke and then, it kind of wedged. You could say, hey, this broke. It, did a bottom tail, came back up and, it wedged and consolidated and then wound up going again right up here. And that was your time to get back into risk. So we probably have a lot of time to figure things out as we still go through earnings season, but now we have ranges. So I already covered a little bit of my SPYs this morning, and I'll hold some, and I only add to my SPYs into strength. So during this process, I actually had the SPYs on as a hedge, and I was like, oh, Red Dog, the SPYs are losing us money as a hedge. I'm like, okay, but we're making a lot of money on our 20 longs, and we're only adding on strength and covering, so we're not pressing. People who are pressing after a move lower, they're ruining their average cost of their hedges, and they're pulling their hair out because things haven't broke. Maybe we can break, but we haven't. So if you add to a short in the hole, chances are we've been bouncing off that, and you're ruining your price of your hedge. So that's just a thought that, I've been talking with. So anyway, that's that. So here's this potential wedge. This is what? This high here is 328.63. So that's your pivot, 328.63, above yesterday's high, 328.63. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. So let's get the high beta tech. So some people are like, hey, Red Dog, Amazon's going to sell off and not go anywhere, kind of like what happened with, Apple and Microsoft and Tesla. I'm like, well, they're different animals. If you remember 3-4 months ago with Apple, I did that video when it was around 245 to 249. I'm like, if you could buy it versus 245, it gets you 249, it could run. But Apple had a historic move into that report. That's why there was no traction post earnings, and it needs time. If you look here, Apple, this was when we did that video, which became a great swing trade. Remember, this tail, by the way, does not exist. It didn't happen, that print. So remember, we buy versus 245, add above this, and then it turned into a really nice swing trade, and then it's traded very well. So now Apple on this quarter did a doji, okay, and then broke below this yesterday, but what did it do? It held the 8th day, so that's your new point of reference. So wasn't so bad that it did a doji here after a huge move. So it still just needs time, so you can trade it back and forth. So now if you want to be long, you could be long versus point of reference here. So this almost, is kind of irrelevant now. Now you can kind of draw your line like this, where, as long as it holds here, okay, you can't get too bearish. If it breaks here, it can go back to the 21-day like it did there, but we'll see. I think the buzzwords with Apple now is, with China, how many plants are going to be closed. On the conference call, it was 1. Now it might be a little bit more. It's down a little bit today. Now let's see if a new range develops here on Apple. Okay, so this is your this is your new spot. You could have made some money short and long yesterday. So now we'll see what happens here. This is on this side. Might as well just put that over there. So we'll see if this, digests and builds another flag. We had a lot of those within this run right here too. That was great. After a move, we needed to consolidate, let the 8-day catch up, and then go again. So we'll see if it happens this time. Same way with Microsoft, or the Red Dog Microsoft. Why did you short Microsoft yesterday? It was a great report. I'm like, it was a great report, but look where Microsoft came from. We were long it for 6 weeks or so, and it was a fantastic trade. Okay, and that was here. This was a great swing trade post earnings last quarter because of the size of this base. And then it had a big move. So up here, was I buying it? No, I was fading it. I made a little bit of money. I didn't, get rich off it. It was just a trade. But now 170.79 is that spot. 170.79 is important to see whether or not it could digest above it, okay, and keep this pro earnings gap intact. So do I think it's going to hold? I don't really think it's going to hold, to be honest. But, that's just me. So we'll see how it goes. This is, your new area here. If we're up today, I'd probably fade a little bit, and now we're down. Maybe you could buy verse this and see if it goes sideways. Tesla also, wow. Tesla was my biggest winner, I think, before today. In the last 3-4 months, but just because of how many Amazon I have. But hopefully you guys did well with this. Remember I did a lotto spread here last quarter because I was like, hey, everyone hates Tesla, blah, 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 blah. I'm seeing all over Short Hills. My best friend or good friend just got one. He's showing me how he could press the button and the Tesla could pull out of the spot. I'm like, wow, maybe it won't be so bad. It'll be good. And then that was this. And then it turned into a great trade when it took back the 8 and 21 day here. And that's why I did a call spread, bought the 380s, sold the 420s, and here you go. Woo. Anyway, yesterday was a gap up. There wasn't a whole lot to do. I actually had options on the 600s and 700s. I made in the 600s, lost in the 700s. But up here, I just wanted to be involved in case he did something crazy with a split and went to 8 or 900. Then I would have crushed it. But instead, I just made a little, and now we'll see. What do I want to see? I want to see, hey, does Tesla, hold this gap, or does it need to be filled? It was down $8 before. Now it's almost green. This is your new point of reference, and this is what Tesla looks like right there. Okay, so we'll see. Does it go sideways, which would be great. I'd love it to go sideways and hold this gap and put in some inside candles. Kind of like what, remember it came to the 8-day. Anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I'm probably not going to be overly active in Tesla as I wait for it to reset up. I look elsewhere. But again, big move into earnings. But if you look at Amazon, Amazon did not have a big move. If you look right here, okay, since the summer, it's done a whole lot of nothing. So it hasn't priced anything in. And then if you go even further back, for 2 years, if you've been a fund or an institution buying Amazon, it's done nothing. That's why I said, hey, I like the setup here, and I used 1918 to buy it after hours, for a trade. So did some of you, and I wanted to be. I said, hey, if it's going to be great, it's going to probably try and take out this 2035 and this 2050, which it's above now. So that's why I'm like, I'll do a call spread, 2000, 2070, and then I did some in the money call spreads that cost more that didn't need to go 200 points. So PS, it's turning into, hopefully, it's 856. Let's see where it is right now as we're doing this. Amazon is 2082. There you go. Wow. Anyway, but again, look at the base here. So whatever it opens up and maybe comes in and gives you a pivot, maybe you could buy the stock and let it go for a week or two. So, but this is different. It didn't have a move like your Apple, your Microsoft, and your Tesla prior. So that's why I still think there's upside there. So anyway, it's 8:56. I get back to my desk. I want to do a quick, small, morning call for everyone. And listen, if you need ideas, okay, and you need people and you need friends and you want me to help coach you and you want to watch what I'm doing, here it is, t3live.com/RAA. Try it for a month. Try it for a month. I could probably count how many people have said this last play just paid for RAA for a year, let alone the consistency. I don't try and swing the bat for home runs. I try and swing the bat for singles and get on base. My on base percentage is what I'm more proud of than even this Amazon, trade that happened and worked. Because for everyone that works, there are those that don't. You're not going to make a living, doing these type of things. You're gonna make your living being prepared every day, getting up at 4:45, putting your price points together, using your cheer system, respecting your process, and feeding the brain over the weekend. So I hope everyone has a great Super Bowl. Please become a member of the community. I'd love to see it. There's strength in numbers, and good luck today.